For years, Filipino inventions have been underrated on the world stage. Science fairs in Manila were dismissed as cute. Filipino students, robots, and gadgets called imitation, and teachers abroad thought Pinoy tech was stuck in the past. When Filipino science high schoolers showed up at international competitions, many Western teams barely noticed, thinking the real fight was just between the US, Britain, or Japan. But that all changed in 2025, the 50th International Exhibition of Inventions, Geneva, when a wave of young Filipino innovators did the unthinkable and shocked the world's leading nations. It all kicked off with some snickering in the halls. You know how it is, some American and European students, used to their flags dominating the podium, couldn't help but chuckle when the Philippine delegation walked in. They were carrying these cool handmade prototypes and chatting away in a mix of English and Tagalog. One of them even whispered, "Are you guys here for the science exhibit or a school field trip?" It was like they couldn't wrap their heads around the idea that creativity comes in all shapes and sizes, right? But honestly, those handmade projects had so much heart and passion behind them. It's like they were saying, we may not have the biggest budget, but we've got innovation and spirit. During rehearsals, Western teams couldn't help but notice the Filipinos skillfully adjusting old circuit boards, testing apps on those aging phones, and pulling off last-minute fixes with borrowed tape and recycled plastic. It was like watching a creative magic show. Many thought, there's no way these kids can compete with our shiny 3D printed machines or fancy AI labware. But honestly, their resourcefulness was something to admire, right? The Filipino students, many hailing from public schools, rolled into Geneva with a serious mission. Their inventions weren't just some flashy projects for attention, they were born from real-life challenges. They faced back home. Imagine dealing with brownouts that leave you in the dark, typhoons that sweep everything away, long hospital lines that test your patience, and classrooms where the internet is just a dream. So, they got creative and built what they truly needed. One standout project snagged a gold medal, showcasing their innovation and resilience. Isn't that inspiring? Imagine a genius system for managing healthcare. It's all about integrating telemedicine, e-prescriptions, scheduling, and mobile payments. This way, even a struggling family or a farmer in a remote barangay can easily connect with a doctor online. The team behind this said, "We made this for our own families, because we get it. But we think the world needs it too." How awesome is that? It's all about making healthcare accessible for everyone, right? The judges paid attention. Then came the silver medal winners. A mobile salt washer that allows Filipino salt farmers to create high-purity salt, cutting out weeks of drying and contamination. Another group built a combined crusher, washer, and harvester for salt fields, giving local producers a shot at meeting international health standards and doubling their income. American teams, with their university funding and Silicon Valley mentors, simply couldn't believe the efficiency or cost of these inventions. There was another silver winner, an eco-friendly construction panel made from coconut coir agricultural waste in the Philippines blended with bio-based resin. Not only does it support climate resilience, but it's cheaper and stronger than ordinary plywood, giving typhoon-prone communities safe, affordable housing materials. The Western competitors whispered to each other, "We work on green tech, but I've never seen anything like that." But perhaps the bronze medal winner captured the spirit of Filipino science best. Hazard Hunter PHA software, tool developed by young engineers at Fivolex. It rapidly generates hazard maps, earthquake, volcano, and flood using open data and mobile phones. So even small-town governments get critical disaster information in seconds, not days. The team shared, "We still remember Yolanda. Back then, our families were glued to slow updates from Manila, just hoping for the latest news. Now, thanks to this amazing system, we can warn an entire village in just a minute. Can you believe that? It's already being used by thousands of barangays, making a real difference and saving lives before disaster even strikes. It's incredible how technology can change the game, right? Imagine the peace of mind knowing that help is just a quick message away. Award night was unforgettable. As the results were announced, rows of Filipino students, teachers, and DOST-TAPI mentors stood silently. Then the names started rolling in. Gold for CU Doc Healthcare System. Silver for Salt Tech. For the Salt Crusher. For Green Cocoa Panels. Bronze for Hazard Hunter PH. Cheers and tears erupted among the Philippine delegation. Organizers from Switzerland, the UK, and South Korea all came over to shake Filipino hands. Media was just blown away, asking, "How on earth did you build this with so little equipment?" A young Filipino smiled and said, "We used what we had, sometimes just scraps and old gadgets, but we had ideas and heart." It's amazing how creativity can thrive in tough situations, right? Another judge from Sweden chimed in. "When you invent for survival, not just for prizes, your solutions can truly change the world. Isn't that inspiring?" Afterward, global investors asked about collaborating. UN envoys praised the disaster tech. Tech transfer firms discussed licensing the salt washer and crusher for farms in Africa and India. At home, school principals finally believed their students could compete abroad, not just as underdogs, but as leaders. Filipino TV news put the innovators on air. Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube exploded with pride. Pinoy Talino Pinoy Puso went viral overnight, back in their hometowns. The winners weren't just overnight celebrities. They became real-life role models. Younger kids flocked after school to join science clubs, buzzing with excitement and ideas. Teachers received special funding for new lab equipment, making classes way more fun. Even parents, tricycle drivers, farmers, street vendors walked a little taller, proudly telling neighbors, "That's my child's team," on TV in Switzerland. It was a wave of inspiration that lifted the whole community, you know? Yet the most remarkable part was how these inventions returned home, scaling up fast thanks to new attention and partnerships. Within months, hundreds of barangays layered in typhoon and quake zones had Hazard Hunter PH running on their phones. Salt makers in Ilocos Norte and Negros Occidental used the new mobile washers to produce pure salt, beating imported brands. Rural clinics piloted the CU Doc system so children and elders could get remote checkups. International follow-up came quickly. American universities invited Filipino winners for campus visits and labs, eager to learn their reverse innovation secrets. Japanese engineers asked to study how core panels could be used for affordable houses in quake-prone towns, from Bacolod to Osaka. Even the judges who had once smirked now sent glowing reviews to their boards. They nearly mocked all that at the beginning, and now it's what the whole world has come to experience. The whole innovation for the whole Philippines. The message was clear. It's not about the fanciest gear, but about courage, lived experience, and refusing to quit. Global headlines now read, "Filipino students redefine innovation for the 21st century." One Filipino winner summed it up. Beaming on stage, they said, "We're just a field trip, but today, we made history." And that is how we know the Filipino bloodline, and the one who make the history. So the next time anyone doubts young Filipino inventors, remember Geneva 2025, a turning point, when the world learned not to laugh, but to listen. Because these students aren't just the future. They're the innovators changing the world, Filipino style, in the institution across the globe. The Philippines is the prize.